to anyone watching this in the future. So if you are studying chemical engineering, we may be of interest to you. So we are Birmingham University Chemical Engineering Society, otherwise known as BUSES. I'm the president, and my name is Piers, and Jenny is also with me, who's the vice president. Here's some pictures of us. And Jenny's going to go through and briefly introduce the committee for you, and well, tell us a little bit more about us, tell you a little bit more about us overall. Sorry, before we get into going through the committee briefly.
So BUSES, as Piers already said, are the university's chemical engineering society. We're one of the biggest student societies. We have around 400 students across all the different year groups. So that includes people who are out on placement year in either third or fourth year, and then first years through to fifth years. We have loads of different events run throughout the year. You can see a few of our events listed here. Winter ball, career networking events throughout the year, a huge sports day called Frank Morton. And it's just a really, really great society to be a part of. It really helps you connect to all your peers in different year groups. And I know Piers and I just only have positive things to say about the society and the way that it's enhanced our uni experience.
So we'll just run through essentially some of the other committee members, because there's 12 of us in total now, and everyone has a different role to play in the committee. So as mentioned, I'm president, Jenny's the vice president, and here we have Rosie, and she's the charity rep, so she does any kind of events that raise money for charity. So recently we actually did a 10K run. This was on Saturday. It was really quite successful. A couple dozen people ended up running and raised over £500 for charity. We typically end up doing a pub quiz as well as beer or bingo or that kind of thing as well in a pub to raise some more money later on in the year. Obviously with coronavirus, we don't know what's going to happen, but we're always looking to try and put something on in place of anything that we cancel throughout this year. So like I say, fortunately we managed to get away with the run the other day because everything was socially distanced. But for the pub quiz, we may be looking a little bit into the future, unfortunately.
And in terms of the charities that we support, it's we like to get the opinion of everyone in the society. So there's often a poll for each event as to which charity that everyone wants to support. So we support a range of different charities throughout the year and do quite a few different charity events. So next up, we have Lucy, who's our sports rep. Within ChemEng, there are quite a few different sports teams you can join. There's a really big emphasis on the BUSES FC football. I think this year we've got 2 11-a-side teams in the campus league, and also 2 6-a-side league teams in the campus league. And there's also Engineering Eagles hockey, which ChemEng are a part of, and EPS netball and Engineering Rugby. I'm sure you all have heard about those in some of the other society talks, but a lot of our members of BUSES are also part of the different sports teams. And Frank Morton is a really big chemical engineering event in the year. It takes place normally in February. We hosted it last year, and it's where you have loads of different people from, or loads of chemical engineering students from each of the universities around the country who do chemical engineering, all coming to one university to have a huge sports day together. So there's so many different sports, you know, ranging from ultimate frisbee, I think, to like Quidditch, and maybe I'm making that up, but there's definitely a lot of different sports that go on, and that's a really, really fun day. So that's something that everyone really gets involved in. And then, of course, there's the EPS trophy as well, which we always enter several teams for and get a really good turnout. So a lot of sport within ChemEng.
And then we have our social secretaries. So we have 2 social secs because we tend to put on so many events throughout the year. We only used to have 1, but the workload was so big. Because we like to try and do so much for the society, where we've introduced a second one fairly recently. So just listed on the side here are a few of the events we do. In total, there's probably more than 10 social events throughout the year. Not all of these involve drinking, obviously, although from the pictures here, it may maybe look that way. We do sober socials, like I say, so things like go-karting or trampolining, that kind of thing. And like Jenny said, again, with the charities, we look to kind of get the feedback from other chemical engineering students on what they would like to see in terms of events. And obviously we have our other ones which are more set in stone that happen every year. So like the welcome dinner, the ChemEng families, pub golf, winter ball, a lot of these are big events normally with 200 plus people all having a meal kind of thing, a lot of dress up involved, quizzes, and typically a night out after. And all of this sounds great. And this year it's going to be very difficult to do. Unfortunately, we had to cancel our welcome dinner. It was meant to be going on tomorrow, but due to the guidelines yesterday that were introduced, we can't go ahead with that. But the social secretaries are looking into doing alternative events, so an online kind of welcome event with quizzes online. Obviously, it's very difficult this year, but they are really trying their best. And hopefully by the end of the year, we might be able to do stuff like the end of year trip mentioned there, where we normally go away to a different city in the UK. It's been mentioned possibly abroad at some point. It's heavily subsidised by abuses. And so it's a great chance to really get away for a couple of days with a lot of your mates in Chem Engine to make new ones for a much cheaper cost than what you'd normally pay on your own. So hopefully that can go ahead, but it's all reliant on the government at the moment, isn't it? But that's a bit about the socials.
So Kyle is our industrial rep. He has just finished a year-long placement, and he's already been so on it, organising so many virtual webinars with lots of different so recruiters, some of the big companies that that take on a lot of our students on placement years and on grad schemes. So at the minute he's organising a lot of webinars. So today we've got a webinar with Unilever. Someone is going to talk about the different placements they have available and the different grad jobs, and it's an interactive Q&A session. So Carl's going to put on a lot of these throughout the year, which are so invaluable, as a lot of chemical engineering students obviously do take a placement year. So it's really, really helpful to have these networking events. We do normally have a big careers dinner. It's called the industrial dinner, where you sit on a table with some representatives from a company, and it's just a really good opportunity to ask them any questions, get some advice. But unfortunately, that's probably not going to be able to go ahead in the usual fashion this year. But it has given the positive outcome that with a lot of different webinars throughout the year, you'll have the opportunity to attend a lot of different talks with a lot of different people at different times. Applications open for industrial placements in September, October, quite early on. So Carl's been putting on these events from the beginning of term. So it's really, really great that you can get your applications in early and get as much careers advice as you can early on into the year. And obviously Carl, having the year in industry experience already, he's got the first-hand experience, so he knows what he's doing. So he's really great to get advice from.
Exactly. Then we have our treasurer here. So if you do end up being a part of USES, it's not that likely that you'll see Rebecca doing much in terms of an active role on any pages or organising events, but she's very important, obviously, with making sure we have enough money, and especially with the cash flows going on. Like I say, we do subsidise quite a few of our events. We get sponsored by various different companies. So she has an important role in making sure all the books are balanced in that sense.
Next up we have Zoe. Zoe's our secretary, so she takes all the meeting minutes. We have, even though they're all on Zoom now, we have meetings every single week to make sure we're all staying in contact, staying up to date with everything that's going on. She's in charge of our social media, so definitely if you want to get involved in USES, check out the Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, which are all on the screen. Facebook is our main platform where we talk about everything that's going on within USES, and there's an individual year group page, so we put in events that are specific to your year group, and that's definitely the best way to keep up to date with everything USES.
And then we've got Amar, who's our international representative. So a lot of the time people come in from abroad or just anywhere, you know, or if they're not particularly familiar with especially the culture in England, Amar's here to help welcome you in and provide a bit of support and guidance on what it's like to be an international student. He's implemented his own international buddy scheme to help pair up international students with other international mentors who've already been through the process, and so that they can then have a bit of someone to fall back on and to ask questions about for anything that's unfamiliar with them. Typically the international rep also organises a couple of generally food related events that celebrate the different various cultures that different international students bring to the table, pun not intended. Sorry, that was awful. And so yeah, he's still looking to put those on throughout the year in the safest way possible.
So now obviously to advertise to first years wanting to join the society, something that we're really big on within ChemEng is our ChemEng family scheme. So this involves, well, at the minute, due to obviously the social distancing guidelines, we have 2 second-year parents in a group with 4 first-year students. The idea would usually be that we could put on a welcome dinner, a social event where all the families could meet. But at the minute, that's all being done virtually. But we're still hoping to put on some quizzes and Zoom calls with breakout rooms. So then that's something that I think has been really strongly encouraged by our first year reps. So yeah, so we have two girls in first year who are the first year representatives who come to the BUSES meetings, and they have said that something they've really enjoyed is doing quizzes before they came to uni. So we're going to get our social sex involved to bring that more to BUSES and bring it to all the different year groups so we can get everyone involved with the quizzes. And then again, some of the other things that we've kind of already talked about, the sober socials and the career opportunities, which are relevant to everyone in society, but also to first years.
So to sign up to BUSES, it's £30 this year for lifetime membership. It's normally £35, but we've reduced it because of the uncertainty of what's going to be going on, particularly at the start of this year. The thing is, we've mentioned all these events, and I've obviously already mentioned many times about we don't know what's going to go on in this year, but especially if you're a first year, even second year, it's definitely worth signing up because you've still got many years ahead of you. And like I said, the membership's for lifetime. So you get, like buying membership, you get attendance at the socials. Like I say, all this money goes straight back into funding the socials. We don't take anything, obviously, for ourselves. It helps subsidise the later on events and helps make things better for the new first years. So the welcome dinner, which, like I say, unfortunately isn't going ahead, is a free to join event. It's free to go to, and it will be next year. It will be hopefully for forever, and it's really just to encourage the first years. And so this membership helps fund that, to help get that initial interest from the first years. We obviously get you a lot of careers events. So there's a lot of networking we've already mentioned that comes with the membership, and the sign up link is in the ChemEng Facebook page. Obviously we've put it in the chat now. I can do, but it's in the Facebook page.
The chat function as well.
Pardon, sorry, Jenny.
I don't think we can put stuff in the chat, but I'll in a couple of minutes I'll go back to the screen with all our social links on, because I think that would be here. Facebook is definitely the best way to keep up to date with everything that's going on, and there's the links in there. There's the links within our Facebook page to buy membership and join our society.
Yeah, exactly as Jenny said. Yeah. So I mean, for me personally, like I say, I'd highly recommend to join. From my personal experience, just for me to wrap up, I don't know if you want to say after this as well, Jenny. I wasn't that heavily involved in first year in any sense, really, with the society. I went to 1 or 2 events here and there, but it wasn't really advertised to me very much, and I kind of did my own thing. But in second year and third year, and now being in fifth year, I got much more involved, and it's brought so many opportunities to me socially, to meet new people, like I say, to meet representatives from various companies, to create networks, and especially to meet people within the ChemEng department as well. It really helps meet lecturers. You know, there's a big sense of a family and a belonging within the whole committee and the whole society, sorry. And one great thing about ChemEng that I really think the USIS does bring is a sense of togetherness between the years. There's not really any boundaries between different year groups. People are friends with people in all year groups because of all of the events and all the different times we meet up. So that's another really great thing. And it can really help when you're in the lower years as well, asking for some help from students in the older years, you know, getting reports and whatnot and guidance. So that's my personal view on it. So thanks.
Yeah, I think that brings us to the end of our session. I'll just completely reiterate everything that Piers has just said. BUSES has just brought me so many great friendships and togetherness with people in all the different year groups, and that's so invaluable both academically and socially. So I mean, I just cannot recommend enough to join BUSES. So yeah, thank you very much everyone for listening, and that's the end of our session. So check out the Facebook page and get involved.
Yeah, thanks, Jenny.
Hello, can everyone hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up. Okay, great, thank you. So I'm from Eagles Hockey. I'm captain. Oh gosh. Sorry, I'm trying to get the slideshow to start. Everyone see it okay? Oh god, no, it's going absolute disaster. Okay, we're gonna forget that. What's going on? Okay, we'll forget about the presentation. I can't seem to get my screen to work. That doesn't matter. Anyway, hi, I'm Jocasta. I'm from Eagles Hockey. We're a fully inclusive, really fun hockey team that we're play mixed ability. We have 2 teams, both of them currently in Campus League. We are, yeah, gosh, it's harder than I thought this would be. Our main ideals are just about making sure everyone can have fun and try playing a sport that, even if you played it lots before, like me, I've been playing hockey for, God, since I was 8, but you wouldn't be able to tell because I'm not very good. It's just a lot more for us about having fun. If you want to play more competitive hockey, we recommend joining us alongside other teams, but that's probably more joining like Edgbaston or Hardbourne or outside club, or maybe like UB Sport. We're just more a club for people who love hockey or just want to try a new sport. We have lots of people who've never really played hockey before or have only played it in school a couple times. We're open to all people to come along. I know we call ourselves Engineering Eagles, but that's just because we love alliteration. We're actually a full EPS society, so anyone can join, maths, physics, anyone. Our social sec, Henry, is not an engineer, but he's still very much involved in the club. Does anyone have any questions at all? We have training on a Monday, 3 till 4. And we have games every week, both teams usually. So we're currently in 2 divisions on Campus League. Bees have been wrongfully put in the bottom division, which I'm very upset about as the captain of the Bees. We decided to play, we don't have a tiered system in our club. We don't place on ability. We just allow anyone to join and anyone to be put into either team. We think it's more fun that way. It means weaker players can learn from better players, and it allows people of, especially for the girls, because you're playing with mixed boys, you don't want to just be there as a token girl. Like, I think it's important that everyone just gets to have fun. It puts less pressure on whether you're good or whether you're bad. It's just about making sure that everyone gets equal game time and everyone can have fun. We try to be really inclusive to all. Some games are harder against like Kinvid or the Medics. We definitely have rivalries with both of those teams, but overall it's just about having fun and seeing how it goes. We try to usually have socials, but obviously that's a bit tricky right now under the current guidance, especially after Bojo's announcement yesterday, unfortunately. But we definitely think that usually we're a really sociable team. It's a great way to meet people on your course, like higher up in the course. I was chatting to some of the freshies yesterday at the training, and they're already asking me for help with coursework, and that's absolutely fine by me. I'm a 3rd year chemical engineering student. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll just chat at you for the rest of this time, which could get down some weird rabbit holes, but hopefully it'll be okay. Yeah, this is fun. Who else is in the chat? I see Henry's actually in the chat. That's fun. Hi, Henry. Didn't see you there. He's our social sec. Yeah, we've been trying to really organise ways around COVID, seeing if there's anything we can do. We're just trying to have the training sessions be as fun as possible. If anyone is worried about COVID, we have got our own, we are following the rules. We've got our own track and trace system in place. We have a risk assessment that we've set up to try and make this trainings as safe as possible. We follow all the current England guidelines rules for hockey, and just saying we also abide with the UOB guidance as well. We have socially distanced training, and we're trying as much as possible. Obviously in games it's not as social distance as maybe it should be when you're going into tackle, but overall it's been viewed safe, obviously, and sport's just a great way to meet new people. It's really hard at the moment. A lot of societies are having to be virtual, which I know many society leaders, they're still trying their absolute hardest and they're still doing a great job trying to get everyone else involved. But if you really just miss like physical contact with other people, and you really want to get to know people, that's a great way to do it. How do you join? Thank you, first question. So you can join the club by just seeing our Facebook page. We have the Facebook page as the Engineering Eagles. you should be able to find us very easily. If you just want to come along to a couple of training sessions, we have a membership fee of £40 for the entire season with no match fees. We're a very cheap society to join, and we won't ask for that money straight away. If you want to just try out a training session or two, we won't ask until after your second training session, whether or not, like, basically for the money. So that's a good way for anyone to come along, really. You can post your Facebook link in the chat so everyone will see it. Okay. Yeah, I'll try and post the Facebook link in the chat. Sorry. Yeah, so we tried to, oh no, yeah. When you sign up, you'd be put either into the A's or the B's straight away. We have a lot of first years. That's a good question. Thank you, Isaac. So we have lots of first years who've joined us recently this year, but we have a good mix of people from all age groups. It doesn't really matter what age you are or like what year you're in. I think the freshers, particularly this year, have found it really useful, actually, the Eagles. I met a couple girls who do general engineering, and they're saying they didn't even realize they were on the same course, but now they can look out for each other on Zooms, or if they're going to labs and stuff together, which is really nice to see, and they've met through Eagles. So it's a good way to, just meet new teams. So I'll post the link. Should I post it in the Q&A bubble or in the chat bubble? I don't know which one's better, sorry. For the Facebook group. We also have an Instagram as well. There you go. Yeah, we also have an Instagram page, which I think's the UB Eagles. Which, again, have a look at that. We have more information. We have another captain of the A's, Molly, who unfortunately couldn't be here today because she's unfortunately got a doctor's appointment, but she's also really friendly. If anyone has any questions, feel free to pop up to either me or Molly Steele. She's, again, the other captain. I've been fending off tons of questions the past couple of weeks, and I absolutely love it. I want to get as many people involved in the club as possible. We want to grow. We want to expand. We're happy accepting anyone, whether you played hockey before or not. We have people who sign up who've only played a couple of times in school, people who've never picked up a hockey stick before. We have people who are actually, far better than I am and are very, very, very skilled, but just do Eagles because they really enjoy it. Henry, for example, is far, far better than I am, but does Eagles for the pure love of the game and because of the love of the team. We're really, really accepting, really sociable. I really do like to think that anyone can come along and make friends in the club. We're trying really hard to mix between the freshers and the older groups. So we're trying to set up a family system. Obviously, that might be a bit tricky again with the current things in place, but we're trying to set up a family system to get some of the older ones in the Eagles to meet some of the younger, newer members. And we're hoping that will be a success and kind of integrate the team a bit more. Does anyone have any other questions at all? No? Okay. So we train on a Monday, 3 till 4 on the pitches, the hockey thing. We have there's a current one-way system in place, so if you can come on the entrance closest to the road side, then just come on in. We'd ask you if you're going to come along to training, first of all, to sign up on our Facebook page and sign up on the Picture app, because that's how we're doing our track and trace system, is that we can allow, we can take names and attendance, and that way, obviously, if there is an outbreak, we can contact everyone in quickly. Like I said earlier, we are trying to follow all the rules as much as we can and make sure that everyone feels safe and included at training without being worried about spreading it, because obviously it's quite a scary times, and we're trying to make sure that we can abide by the rules as much as possible so that we can continue to play and there's no issues for us. So I'd say my favorite thing about the Eagles is that it's not as high commitment as some of the other sports. I know it sounds silly, but we are EPS. We understand that lots of people have very busy schedules. Like, I'm obviously a third year now. I'm captain of the hockey team. I've got design projects to do. I also have a job at Joe's, and it's nice knowing that if I can't turn up to a training session here or there, or if I have to miss a game because you're busy, you won't be punished. The team won't say, well, if you miss a training session, then you're not allowed on the team, or you know, if you don't turn up, then you can't play. We're not that kind of team at all. We understand that people are busy. You have other priorities. It's really just about the love of the sport and having a good time and trying to make friends. It's not We're not hyper competitive. Obviously, we like to win. We came first and third last year, our 2 teams in the league. So, you know, we want to win, and we like to think we're good enough to win. And if the season continued last year, we would have hopefully won the EPS trophy for it, the Campus League trophy and all that. But, you know, we'll see. Hopefully this year we'll be able to. But even though we're competitive, it doesn't mean that we're like nasty about it. You know, we still allow anyone to turn up if and when they can. Just let us know before the match that you're going to be there so I can put you down for the attendance, but that's pretty much it. And if you can't come, just drop me or Molly a message. Like, if you want to, if you can't, it's not a big deal. We don't punish the team for anything. What's been my most memorable thing as a team member? I don't know, so many. I think winning winning a game against the A's was a really good one as a proud member of the Bs, because we often have quite a lot of internal competition between the 2 teams, especially because we play, like I said, mixed ability. It's always the competition of, you know, some years the A's might be a little bit better, or some years the Bs will be a little bit better. So last year was particularly close, and the A's won the first match against us, and we were out for revenge. So it was nice in second semester to batter them, but batter's a bit strong. We won by like 1 goal, but we're still very, very proud, and it was one of the best games our team played. So I was very happy to see that, and we got bragging rights for the rest of the season, which was useful to have. Obviously, we're struggling at the moment to run any socials because of everything that's going on. Usually we'd go to the pub after training, or go to the pub after a match, and that's a little bit tricky, especially with the new rules. But we always encourage people to try and socialise amongst the team as much as possible within COVID, and just see, yeah, as much as we like, try and make it as friendly as it can be. Has anyone else got any questions for the final 2-3 minutes that I'm meant to be on? No. Yeah, I guess I don't really know what else to say. Sorry. I think I've got the main points across about Eagles. I'd love it if we could get some new members from this. So if anyone fancies giving it a go and trying, please feel welcome to just even like a single training session, come along, give it a go. If you need hockey sticks, we've got them to lend out. We have balls whilst we're there. We have all the equipment there. So you just need to turn up with a good attitude, and we're happy to accept anyone. So thank you very much. I hope that this has been an informative talk and that everyone's enjoyed the session, enjoyed it. Thank you. Like I said, check us out on Facebook, check us out on Instagram. If you want any more information, please feel free to message me. Sometimes like picture and playways can be a bit of a nightmare to use, but thanks, James. He's just said to defo join the Eagles because it's great. James is one of our top strikers, despite his terrible, terrible reverse stick. He still managed to score 3 goals for us on the weekend, so that was great. This season's already started, but it's not too late to sign up. We'd absolutely love to see new members all the time. Just drop us a message. You can join at any time, and we'd love to see lots of new faces. Thank you. Oh, still 2 minutes left. Again, any last questions at all from anyone? No. Okay, that's all good. See, they got the, yeah. Thank you. I think that's all from me then. I'll just say goodbye, and thank you very much for listening to me yap on for 15 minutes. I hope it's been useful. See you around. See you at Eagles, hopefully. See you at training. Thank you. Bye.
Right, on my clock it's 12 o'clock, so yeah, we're good. Let me just grab up the chat. Cool. I'm all set. Hello everyone, nice to see everyone. We are UBRacing. How this works is there is a Q&A function down at the bottom if you have any questions, and we'll be answering them for the next 15 minutes. If you don't have any questions, just sit here and listen to us really. We'll be talking to you about who we are and what we do and how you can get involved. But yeah, for any questions, go to the Q&A function at the bottom. First thing really is we are UBRacing. We are a student-run society who build and race a race car every year at Silverstone and also around the world. Everything we do is completely built from scratch, and yeah, everything's made in-house and it's all designed by us, the students. So it's a very interesting society. You get a lot of knowledge into how industry is done from this. And yeah, it's not like your normal society. We are a very different society, but it is very good fun and stuff like that. But yeah, so any questions, bang them in the Q&A. And Liam, do you want to share the video to start with?
Yeah, so I've got a short clip from FS UK 2019, which gives you a bit of an idea of what Formula Student's about. So I'll just share my screen.
Yeah, so for anyone who's just joined us, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A function at the bottom. But as you've just seen, that was a recap from the 2019 event. Formula Student is a worldwide competition. So the team that won that year was More Modern Racing. They came from Italy to compete in that competition. And there's a lot of German teams. And when they come across, it is just a show of how good these cars can be. Just a quick one about how the competition works and how we've done. The competition is broken into two main parts. There's a dynamic side and a static side. But to get to any of that, you have to pass scrutineering first, which is getting through the rules, making sure your car is legal to drive, passing things like noise test, brake test, and tilt test. And then after you've passed all that, which probably only half the cars pass each year, it is a hard achievement. You then are allowed to race your car. There is also the static side of the competition, which is the business presentation, cost reports, and design presentation. And then when we get to dynamics, we have the endurance event, the acceleration, skid pad, sprint, and there's one more that I can't remember, but it's fine. We don't need them. In previous years, we started about 22 years ago now. Back in 23 years, 1998. We were one of the first UK teams. And since then, we've done really well. About 4 years ago, we had our best result, where we finished second overall, but we actually won the dynamic side of the event. And then in the past few years, we've produced a really good car, but had a bit unlucky with some issues. And obviously, current situation means we've been unable to compete last year. So the year coming up, our plan is to compete with our combustion car, which is half built in the lab already from last year. And then the exciting thing from this year is we've brought in, well, we've merged with UBRacing, who are a society that started probably 3-4 years ago now to start development of an electric Formula Student car. And Sam here is our electric head. So I'm sure he might be able to talk to you a little bit about the electric side and what's going on there.
Hi everyone. Yeah, so as James just told you, we merged with UBRacing. Very exciting. Get the opportunity to build an electric car. Yeah, obviously it has its challenges and its differences to the combustion side of it. But yeah, we're very exciting. Hopefully we can get one built, and should be quick, should be nice and fast. Very impressive. And yeah, so there's the powertrain department, the EV side. If you're interested in that, covers like the motor and the battery pack. They're the two key components. And then there's also the control department, which is new to UBRacing, coming from UBRacing. That has some crossovers with powertrain department. So it's about safety systems, controlling the motor, some battery control systems, and other electrical systems. So if you're interested in programming, control systems, electronics, or anything like that, then feel free to drop us a message. And if you've got any questions, again, as James said, use the Q&A chat. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can do a little bit of a run through of our car at the moment to just give people an idea of what we build. I think that should be on screen now. This was our full car CAD from last year with all the changes highlighted from the year before. As you can see from our car, we have a pretty comprehensive aero package these days. We've been doing it long enough. So we've got a full-fledged rear and front wing. We've got a full underfloor diffuser. We've even got side wings coming in, and we've also got our new side pods and engine cover. This makes our car extremely high downforce. So at a competition like Formula Student, it's a very different to like F1 or something. A lot of it is low speed and quite twisty tracks. So a high downforce package can be really useful. How many members are in each team? So for example, the aerodynamics team. So to run through our normal structure, we have our 6 main departments, and they have a head of department who's normally a third-year student. That head of department will make all the decisions for that year and talk to us three, the leadership team, about what they want to do. Under the head of department will be as many second years are interested in it as possible, who are looking to shadow and take on the role of head of department next year. That's normally about 2 or 3 second years in each department. And then we drop down into first years. First years, our normal way of dealing with it is we will let you just sort of run around every department and just sort of decide what's good for you. What we find is a lot of our people that join us aren't too familiar about where they want to go. If you are, that's fine. And if you just know you want to do aerodynamics, then we can happily just put you into aerodynamics. But for me, example, I didn't know that much about F1 when I arrived. So I spent my first year in a mixture of aerodynamics, chassis, and a little bit of VD as well. In terms of how many people in there, it really depends. There's so much work that can be done. So depending on how many people we have, the more work we can do. So in aerodynamics, for example, this year, there's a lot of wind tunnel model testing that needs to be done. So we have a third scale wind tunnel model, which we use in one of the wind tunnels on campus. That model needs to be finished and then tested in the wind tunnels. There's new front wing designs being talked about. The side pods still need redesigning. So depending on the amount of people is depending on how much work we can do. It's not so much this is the work we need to do, so that we need this many people. With Formula Student, it's such an open competition. The rules are strict, but there is also, compared to F1, there is so much variation. So the cars can look so different, which means there's always stuff to do. If you're already in your third year and you want to join, that's fine. You won't have the sort of time, I would say, to build up a load of knowledge about different departments. So it would probably be best, if you are interested in aero, to go straight into aero. And as a third year, you'll already have the sort of CAD skills and the other sort of engineering skills that we wouldn't expect first years to have. So it'll be much easier for you to get involved straight away like that. Considering COVID, currently due to restrictions, we're not allowed into our lab, but that isn't a big problem right now. Because of the situation from last year, we already have one car almost complete. So right now we're not too fussed about getting in to complete that. But because of the brand new electric car, there is hours upon days of design work that needs to be done. And we can do all of that away from the lab. So with COVID, we will be hosting, for people that haven't done any CAD or any sort of simulation before, we'll be hosting some sort of tutorial sessions where we can teach you to use CAD in a relevant way to the car. So I know, for example, Aero are planning on doing a how to design a front wing session. So it won't just be your normal designing a sort of a pipe connector that you'd find on YouTube. Design stuff relevant to the car. We would also be doing more sort of instructional videos and stuff on how to do this certain thing. But in terms of COVID, there is plenty we can do away from the lab, so we should be fine to get people involved and get people trained up on CAD and get us working on things. The other side to it is to get people started with projects. We have a lot of fresher projects, we call them, where we give groups of people their own project, and it would normally be stuff like the quick jack or the pit trolley or things that are important but are not vital to the car, because that gives you a place where you can learn CAD and go and try out different things and see what works and come back to your mentor or someone that's helping you along with that project, and they can help you designing your first Formula Student part, basically. But yeah, even with COVID, we think we should have plenty to do this first term, and we'll just be ramping it up and up and up as we go through the term as well. Start off slow to ease people in, but once everyone's settled into uni life for this year, we'll keep adding more and more things to get people interested. It's 2:15. Wow. I suppose that means we should probably stop.
If anyone's got any quick questions to ask, then yeah, feel free. Well, you can always email us or message us on Facebook or anything like that as well, and we'll get back to you like ASAP.
Yeah, let me just stop sharing my screen. and then spam the chat with some links.
Question now, just how do you join? So if you go to our website, ubracing.co.uk, there's a link where you can join. It says join now. So there's a quick document just to fill out. And that will just register your interest. So you'll be put into a spreadsheet and then we can see who's joined from there. Yeah.
And then on Instagram, we are UBRacing. On Facebook, we are UBRacing. And the other place to go would be on Facebook. There is a Facebook group called UBR24 Team. That's where we'll be posting anything about what's going on this year. So once you've signed up, you'll get a link to that. And that's where you need to be, really. ubracing.co.uk is the place to go for signing up. We're running over. We should really stop. Yeah, if anyone has any more questions, go to us on our Instagram and ask us there. But yeah, thanks for listening to us, everyone, and we will say goodbye and leave you to whoever's next.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Samaraj. I'm the chairman for the School of Engineering RFC. We're a student-run rugby club, mainly for the EPS Society, but we accept students from all disciplines. If you'd like to ask me any questions, I'm here to enlighten you in any way I can. So a little bit of information about our team. We have two teams that we run primarily. We have the first team, which are more competitive, play a lot of men's teams around the area, and we play against Uni 2s in a double header, usually around Christmas time. A bit different this year, but hoping to reschedule that for the Easter time. And we have a second team, which is more social. This team is more for people who just kind of want to stay a bit healthy, get see a few mates, and at the end of the day have a drink after the game. We were established in 2003, and it was by just a group of engineers. But since then, our team has flourished and become maximum. Last year we had, I think, 90 members, and this year we've had a few less, but we're still looking around 70 members. But some of our members are social members. The social members are able to come to training, and they're also able to come to any of our socials, which right now aren't running because of the government guidelines. But we're looking to change that as soon as the government guidelines permit this. Also, our social members are allowed to come on tour with us. So usually we do our tour at the end of our fundraising month in November for the Movember charity for testicular cancer and men's mental health. However, this year we were looking to run this further on later in Easter, when we're allowed to travel abroad without isolation, or just plan in advance. We will be, however, running our regular charity events during November as well as we can. People can join from whenever, as long as you drop me or one of the committee members a message. We do have an Instagram and a Facebook group. You can find them pretty easily as long as you type in School of Engineering RFC. We kind of pride ourselves on offering a competitive level of rugby while also not making anyone do anything they don't want to. Can't say much for other rugby teams at the university, but we know as long as you're comfortable with what we're doing, we're happy for you to participate in socials if you want to, if you fancy drinking. If you don't, it's completely fine. We're not going to force you to do anything you don't want to. Other than that, there's got a question from Louis Medlock. Okay, so our training sessions currently run on a Tuesday and a Friday from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And fixture-wise, we won't be actually having any fixtures this term. We're looking to run inter-club games every other Friday. These will be commencing from next Friday, just because we're allowed to train together and play against one another in your own team, but we aren't allowed to play other teams yet. We do have fixtures booked for second term in preparation for hopefully moving forward another stage with the RFU. But as it is now, we're running our training sessions only on Tuesdays and Fridays with interclub games to come soon. I joined personally because I knew I wanted to play rugby at university because I'd played at home since I was probably like 10 or 11. But I joined because I knew people in the club already, and the experience that they'd had, it just seemed second to none. I'd always seen them because obviously, some of my best mates come to uni before. We'd seen their Instagrams and Snapchat stories of them at rugby, them going on tour. It just seemed a lot more comfortable, and I think the important thing is that they didn't try to push you to do anything. We're a very inclusive club, and we pride ourselves on taking you in no matter what you are. I think the best experience we've had as a team was possibly when we played Bourneville Twos, which are one of our quite heavy rivals at the end of second year, and we played at Avery Fields. It was we had a large crowd coming down. It was Friday Night Lights. I think it just really showed kind of the support that all the club has with our current members. We had our second team players there also. I think it was just getting everyone in more of a kind of like a family situation. So we have our families in our rugby club as it is to integrate the freshers and returners in with some of the committee members, just more kind of a support system and a bit of a bubble, because it's hard coming to uni if you don't know anyone. Say if you're the only person from your school or any person from your area coming to Birmingham, it might be hard actually getting into a bit more of a social kind of atmosphere and making friends, especially like in these times. But I think it was great just to look out from playing on the field, and really tight match. But just to look out and see your friends and all your family stuff watching you play, it's kind of a feeling like you probably hadn't had since maybe playing like under 16s rugby if you did ever like back at home. But I think it's just kind of that feeling about belonging to a club that actually want to improve everyone as people as well. So one thing we do offer, we did last year quite well, was our engineering tournament, where we had a representative from the club who was doing a year in industry at Rolls-Royce come back and offer internship advice and possible graduate schemes at this engineering tournament with with two teams from here, which is our first and second team, but also from Bristol and Exeter. Currently, we only have a men's rugby side. We are looking towards possibility of opening up the female rugby side, but haven't had enough interest to make this viable yet. So our full membership is £80, and this will include being able to participate in our second term fixtures, trainings on Tuesdays and Fridays, our tour, which will be at the end of the year, but also on a Thursday now, we now offer CrossFit sessions for players who are looking to get that extra bit of fitness, who may not have a gym membership or would feel comfortable doing it in more of a team atmosphere rather than going to the gym alone. This is limited, however, to 30 people due to government guidelines, but we run this every week and try to get as many people in as possible. Even this year, we've had quite a few freshers interested, so they've made the trek down from the Vale down to Healy Road at Second City to join us for these CrossFit sessions. And then our social membership, which you can come to training on Tuesdays and Fridays, unfortunately doesn't involve CrossFit, as that's an added expense, or will include any socials and our tour at the end of the year, and that's £40. If you are struggling paying membership, however, we do try to help as much as we can. We understand not everyone's in the same financial position, but we don't want anyone to feel excluded in any way. Okay, so our club trains on a Tuesday. On Tuesday night, we train at Selly Park currently, and on every other Friday, we play at Avery Fields. Avery Fields is where Bourneville play all of their games, and BCU. But this is in Bourneville. It's about 5-minute Uber away. It's not very far. We tend to group together to get our Ubers down to there on a Friday night. It just means, as well as having a bit of a game under lights, we can also have a couple of drinks after because they open the bar for us. Okay, so just this slot is for this rugby team, which are part of the EPS community. Okay, if there's no more questions, thank you for listening, and I hope to see some of you guys at training.
Right. So I believe we are now live. Okay. So to everyone who's currently watching, we are the Birmingham University Materials Society, also known as BUMS. We're here today to just give you a little flavour of what BUMS is all about, really. I think it would be good to start with just a little explanation of the things that we do, and then we'll accept any questions from the audience. Today with me as well, we're sorting out the naming issue on Zoom at the moment. We've got myself and Lydia, so we are the co-presidents of BUMS. Then we've got Greta, who's just changed her name to say that she's one of our social secs. And then we've got Amy just down there, probably sorting her name now as well. She's one of our careers reps. So BUMS is a student-run society, and we host a wide variety of events, including sporting teams. So we've got a football and a netball team in the campus league. We host careers events to help provide opportunities to our members, and we host social events as well, obviously, COVID permitting. I don't know, Greta, do you want to chime in on some of the social stuff for this year?
Yep, I can jump in right now. So obviously, especially in line with the latest government guidelines, we're unable to host anything in person. However, we do have some online Zoom events in the pipeline, including a quiz, for which there'll be prizes. It could be a lot of fun. You know, everyone's more than welcome to get involved. And we also have a parenting scheme in which we help any freshers out, you know, help them to make friends in the society, reach out to people that have been and done a year at least of BUMS, and just, you know, form connections and hopefully friendships within BUMS. So that's the vague plan for this year.
Yeah. And then Amy, want to say a little bit about careers as well?
Hi, yeah, I'd love to. So normally we would hold an in-person careers networking event within the department. Obviously this year that will not be possible. I'm currently liaising with some different industries and different companies to try and set up a virtual version of this. I have a careers rep as well, and she couldn't be here today, but she's also setting up sort of a speed dating type thing, so like a speed dating networking event so you can talk a bit more about to different industries and different companies that you want to learn more about. I'm hoping to set that up for later on in this term or early next term. So although we can't have the normal in-person talks, I really want to push careers as much as possible virtually.
Okay, very nice. Thank you,
I think
Amy.
it would be useful to people to know what kind of companies you're thinking of getting in touch with.
Yeah, so we have a few. I'm open to get in touch with Wood Mackenzie this year. Who else will I try and get with? Any kind of energy ones. We haven't really got a definitive list yet, but that will be coming up soon. Like I said, I don't want to say anyone is for certain because I just haven't got responses from everybody yet. But any kind of nuclear I want to get a few nuclear, a few consultancy firms, again, some different materials, steel processing firms. And as well, I am looking to get, last year we had a good company come in for, what was it? For like, the word escapes me. Patenting, but there you go. I was like, so we're looking to get them again. Yeah.
I was careers rep last year, so I think it's worth noting that we've got contacts like outside of industry as well. So as Amy said, like there's a patent firm, for example, other law firms and stuff like that, some sort of financial industry related people. So yeah, we've got a wide range of contacts.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm just seeing here in the chat, Ibrahim is asking if he can go for a question. Yes, go for it. There should be a place for you to type either in the chat or somewhere along the bottom of your screen. So I'll just give you a minute to type your question.
Are people able to unmute themselves?
And all of the questions are submitted text-based. We're the only people with audio today. Yeah, we'll wait for Ibrahim to ask his question. In the meantime, Lydia, have you got anything else to add onto what's already been said?
Not really, just that it doesn't cost anything to join the Materials Society. Even though we are department based, everyone is welcome, if you have an interest in materials. Yeah, and anyone can join, our sports and join the netball team, the football team. Everyone's welcome.
Yeah, that is a good point to make, that BUMS isn't just for materials students, it's for anyone who wants to get involved. And yeah, currently today we've just had one of our second football taster session go ahead, which by all accounts has done very well. And then we're running a netball taster session tomorrow as well at 2 o'clock down on the netball pitches, if anyone is interested in that. Just trying to see if Ibrahim's question is going to come through.
I can talk a bit more about, sorry, I'm at a train station. I can talk a bit more about different companies if you want for now. But again, like, it is important to stress that it's just one aspect of the Materials Society. But we'll try and get Jaguar, Rolls-Royce, Land Rover, Airbus. We have had and also we will try and be doing talks from different people who have been students at the uni and gone on to enter different industries or the finance sector. So that's all something that will be in the pipeline.
Thank you for that, Amy. Ibrahim's questions just come through. Can everybody else see this question? I can read it out anyway. For the purposes of the recording, that's probably a good idea. So Ibrahim says, I'm in first year doing physics. I'm trying to obtain as many contacts as possible for possible careers paths. I'm particularly interested in data analytics. I'm just randomly calling different firms, asking around. Is this a good strategy? Thanks. Well, I would put this over to either Greta or Amy with a bit more previous experience than myself. What advice have you got for Ibrahim?
There's a train announcement, but so Greta, you've got anything to add? I can add it later.
I don't have any experience with data analytics companies, but if you have any idea of the kind of firms that you'd be interested in, you could definitely go through us.
If this is too distracting, can everyone hear me? And not hear the lady too much. So I would say definitely get onto prospects, any kind of grad cracker, any kind of looking at opportunities like that and just scroll through what kind of jobs are available on there, they will always have links to different companies, but sometimes there'll be companies you haven't really thought of, or smaller firms that, you know, like everybody knows Bloomberg kind of thing, but there might be another company that will do data analytics that isn't, you know, PwC, again, like some of the bigger companies, they're harder to get into and they have very intensive application processes, which is great if you get there. But yeah, I would say definitely just have a look around on careers websites, because that's everything in one place. Again, I really like Prospects, and also Prospects are doing some really good virtual careers fairs. So they'll tell you about it if you sign up for their emails and things. So I've been to one. I went to an Atkins careers event that was a virtual day yesterday. It was only for women, yesterday's one, but it was a women in STEM, and there was for the East Midlands, and so there was 17 companies there, and it was kind of virtual stalls, so you went and asked your questions and stuff. Some are better than others, but again, it's virtual. You can just like log off if it isn't for you. But it's definitely worth looking at. That sort of just starts your contacts. Yeah, I definitely think making yourself known is a good. Make sure you have a good CV. And one thing I would say is definitely, like, if you're contacting them, make sure you have a reason. You've looked into them a bit, and you have a reason for messaging them, like why you're interested in their company, like a cover letter, something like that. Just make it specific to the company then, and they will be a lot more interested in you if they've seen that you've actually got an interest in them specifically and not just finding a job.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would say as well. In terms of calling, I think it would probably, you'd get a bit further if you to just draft up an email, you know, maybe asking some questions about the company, you know, if you've looked into it a bit, just asking some questions, and just always attach your CV as well, just so they can have a look at what you do and, you know, who you are as a person. So yeah.
Calling as a first point of call is like, it does show a good level of like proactivity, and it's a good, I think that is a good strategy.
I would like to stress though, careers again is just one aspect of it, of the society. We also have, we have two sports teams now that we have?
Yes, we do.
And hopefully we're trying to bring badminton back. And we do, obviously we can't do socials the same, but we've had some really good virtual quizzes already. And it's just a space for people who all like materials and have that interest to come together.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely. I think quite a unique thing about BUMS in the materials department is the fact that because we're a little bit smaller than maybe some of the bigger societies, we do end up being a lot more of a friendly unit, more of a family feel. And I think that definitely comes through with the way that a lot of people across different year groups are quite close friends, and the fact that we get quite good interaction with our lecturers, not just in an educational sense, but quite a lot of them come to play for the sports teams or come down to the careers events to help out. So it's a really nice dynamic that we have going on over in materials. Now I'm just conscious of the time. We're still open up to questions. If anyone's got a last minute question, now would be the time to ask it, and we'll see if we can quickly give you our best response.
In the meantime, I think, even though it's not exactly relevant at the moment, but I can sort of tell you about what we've done historically as a society, like in terms of socials, because like tying in with what Jane said about us being really sort of great between year groups, everyone's friends like across years. We have normally we've got termly nights out. It's called Bums v Nuke Sock. Everyone gets dressed up. There's a fancy dress theme, and we all head off to Broad Street together, have a great time, and stuff like that happens usually quite a lot. So if government guidelines change, we are hoping to get back into that sort of stuff as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'd like to add as well, like with the sort of family feel again, and the closeness between year groups, you will make friends with every year group. You know, it just happens. Like, I mean, some of my very good friends are in the years above. I know people in the year below. It's a very supportive environment to be a part of. And sometimes, like, obviously just coming to uni is a scary thing to just sort of throw yourself into it, but this is definitely a very welcoming society. So
100%
and it has
agree.
got, like I say, got a bit of everything. But so and you know, you don't have to, I mean, you know, we talk about nights out, you don't have to drink, things like that. I don't drink, and I've made plenty of friends. So I just want to just stress that as well, because I think a lot of people get worried about, you know, society is always a big drinking thing, and it really isn't. There's the sports side, there's the career side, there's the social side that, again, doesn't have to be drink based. So
okay, thank you, Amy. Don't want to stop you mid-flow, but we've come to the end of our time as panelists for the day. So yeah, if you want to find Bums on social media, it's super easy. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, just type in Birmingham University Materials Society and we'll come straight up. Feel free to get in contact with any of us as well. And yeah, thank you to everyone who came to ask questions and watched, and we hope that you find this useful.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me all right? Yep, I think so. We're the Railway Society, and I'll just bring my face on the screen as well. I've not got access to video sharing, Grace. There we are. So that's all sorted. So I'm Richard, I'm chair of the Railway Society. We've also got the secretary of the society, Cameron.
Hello.
And Aidan as well, who's the social secretary. So RailSoc has been around since 2017, and we're the society for anyone and everyone who's got a professional or a casual interest in trains and railways and all that kind of thing. You know, we do cater for the train geeks, but if you just fancy a career in the railway industry or are looking into that, we're the people for you. We, in a normal year, and we'll pretend it's a normal year for a bit so that we can show off best what we do. We hope to kind of resume normality a bit after sort of Christmas with any luck. We run all sorts of kind of events. We've got a nice little slideshow to show you. So I will just turn on screen sharing. There we are. That's the one. And there's F5 of that. So we've got sort of several facets to the society. So kind of one of our big ones is the kind of professional development side. So people kind of looking to extend their career and knowledge within the railway industry in that sense. So we run all sorts of talks throughout the year, and this is probably a lot of what we'll be doing this year because Corona, so it'll be a lot of virtual talks. Here we've got one from Andrew Pennington of South Western Railway. This was an in-depth look at the challenges of introducing new types of trains, you know, all the problems you've got to look at. And that really builds on kind of, it extends the knowledge. If you're on the railway course at the uni, it really builds on that knowledge and extends it further. But it's also perfectly interesting if you're just kind of interested in that kind of thing. We've also worked with cross-country trains. Head office is in Birmingham city centre. We like to visit them every year, but we've also managed to blag a one-day course with them where they teach us about train planning, and that's how the timetable is developed. So all the kind of detail that goes into making sure that train starts from that location and ends up there. So how do you make sure there's a driver on it and a guard on it, and where do they go at the end, and how do they make sure that they've got their lunch breaks at all the right time? You really get to see how the railway industry works, and it's quite an exclusive opportunity that we're able to offer for free. But it's not all hard work, because we've also got quite a social aspect to the society. So one of the best socials we've ever run was we got a trip on the kind of luxury inspection saloon. So I don't know if you know Moore Street Station, but around Christmas time they run a sort of Santa train out to the edge of the Birmingham suburbs, with a proper old-fashioned steam locomotive, and it's all very atmospheric, steam blowing out everywhere. And we blagged a ride on the first class section of this, and great fun. We also do nice walks. So here you've got the Harborne Walkway, which isn't very far from the uni, and I lead guided walks along these, and I get to tell you about the history, and hopefully this is something we'll be able to resume soon. It depends how the restrictions go, but it's very well suited to the current climate. Here's another one, which was a nice country walk we did between two request stops. So a request stop is a station where, because so few people use it, you actually have to put your arm out to stop the train, or tell the guard, can you tell the driver to stop at this station, please? And it's quite a weird and unique experience. And, there are probably about 10 of us visiting that day. So we boosted the numbers of Danzy Station in Warwickshire, probably a decent amount by that year. We've got a lot of people in the society interested in model railways. So we have held kind of just running nights where everyone brings along a bit of track and a few of their trains, and we just kind of make a bit of a layout on the table and have a bit of a play. We are looking at getting our own model railway. Unfortunately, we might not be able to do much with this year, but we live in hope. We also don't just stick to Birmingham. We've collaborated with societies outside of Birmingham. So here we met up with the Imperial College London Transport Society and Loughborough as well, and we went for a nice trip along the Great Central Steam Railway in Leicestershire. That was good fun, and it's a great networking opportunity as well. Great to meet people who have similar interests and share all your knowledge. And finally, probably one of the best events we've run is a couple of years. We've capped off the year with a trip to the Chasewater Railway. That's sort of the other side of Walsall. And we effectively hire the railway for a whole day, and we kind of got free reign of the whole thing. So we let people drive, we let people do sort of guarding operations, coupling up the train, do the signalling. It's all great fun. It's all supervised, so we tell you what to do, and it's all safe. But I don't think many other societies can let you drive a train. So that's one in the bag for RailSoc. That's why you should join us. We let you drive a train. Here's some more photos of some of our members in the cab of this loco. But in order to kind of get all the aspects of, we've got the career, we've got the fun. We also look at kind of technical, where we kind of fill the gaps in lectures that the lecturers wouldn't ordinarily be able to show you. We kind of supplement the degree side by looking at some of the technical aspects in person. So we visited several signal boxes, and we can kind of show you the history. This is an old classical, very old-fashioned signal box we went to a few years ago. You get to pull all the levers, and then few years later, we went to Crewe, and here you see, you know, the levers are smaller because they're power operated, so it's slightly more modern. And then you can see the kind of next historical step. This is what used to be the old signalling panel at Swindon Station, and we kind of operated it all as a team. All of these are kind of simulated. They're not, you know, the real ones on the real railway. So we're not going to send 2 trains running headlong, crashing into, you know, awful mess. But it's a great way to kind of hands-on really understand how railways are signalled. And that's something that, you know, the uni can't offer, but we can. And I don't think any other society can offer that. So it's a great bit of interest. But also we kind of visit depots and get to see trains themselves up close. So we went to Kings Heath Depot at Northampton here. This is a pantograph, and you get to see, they showed us how it operated. So it's all kind of pneumatic. There's a lever there you pull and it goes tss, tss. And here's a bogie, part of the wheel set of the train. There's some more. Here's a heritage railway depot. But you know, it's great to see how, you know, a modern, hyper clean, space age train depot compares with one where they're looking after trains that are 50, 60 years old. And here is us at Widnes as well, where they refurbish 125-mile-an-hour Pendolino trains. So have we got any questions from the audience? I'll do my best to answer. Or is there anything else you guys on the committee would like to add?
Cameron?
Aidan, have you got any more plans for other events we could be running this year with the current restrictions?
Well, of course, we are looking at it. Obviously, I'm the social secretary for those who don't know. So, you know, my job is primarily involving social events. And obviously, with RailSoc, historically, generally the social events have been on the end of the actual event. So, for example, we've like, you know, like the big events end up being sort of like a social event anyway. Because, you know, even when we went to Loughborough, we, you know, went on the railway and then ended up in Wetherspoons for the evening, say, or something like that. So it's rather difficult, especially because we're not running any in-person real events. It's then quite, you know, we've got half the social events that would have been on the back of that aren't running. And then also because of coronavirus guidelines, it's difficult to do anything in person, but I'm looking forward to working with the committee in the coming weeks to try and make sure we do, you know, we make the most of what we can do with virtual events and things like that. I've certainly seen some very creative ideas from other societies that have sort of inspired me to perhaps think about, you know, having some sort of social event that we can all do from the safety of our own homes for the time being.
So I'll add a bit to that and say this year, because of Corona, we're running it slightly differently. We're hoping to kind of run more online. So we've already run 2 socials. We ran a sort of virtual version of the guided walk. So I kind of, you know, take you virtually along the canal to the city centre. And, you know, I can still explain the history along the way, and I can point out all the interesting bits so that then you can go and do the walk for yourself and, you know, kind of all the history already. We've run a quiz as well. And this kind of sets the idea for the socials we're hoping to run this year. But also, to kind of keep the technical and professional side, we're in talks with all sorts of people in the railway industry. We've got 3 sort of in discussion with. We'll let you know when we have the dates for those. And you know, they're kind of all sorts of fun and interesting topics covering all kind of aspects of the railway. Just have a check. Anything you'd like to add, Cameron?
Well, I think we've pretty much covered that. Obviously, yes, we're not doing as much as we have done previously, and there's not as much variety, but we're still trying to keep regular events going. And I think we've probably done just as much as we would in a normal year already.
So we've just had a question through. What's my favourite thing about being in RailSoc? Well, for me, it would be we allow access to opportunities you would never get anywhere else. So you could never go to a railway depot and they just let you in. But by being part of RailSoc, we're kind of an organised group. They know who we are, and we can kind of get in discussions with them, and we're the kind of secret way into all of these places. Would my other two committee members like to share what their favourite thing is?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it depends what you mean about favourite thing. I mean, I echo your sentiment about that. You know, it is about opportunities. I'd say, you know, the single best thing I've done in RailSoc since joining it was definitely driving that train at Chasewater and guarding it. That was a fantastic day, and probably the best thing I did in 2020. I know that's not really saying much given how 2020 has panned out, but you know, I did really enjoy that. And obviously, you know, you can't just do that. If you wanted to do that on your own, it would cost you upwards of £300 probably. And you know, and RailSoc, thankfully, were able to offer it for just £25 to members, which was incredible. So you know, for £25, we got to go and drive a train, second man on the way out, drive it back, and then be the guard later on, which I think is absolutely fantastic.
I'd agree with Aidan. My best part has definitely been driving that train, but also it's been quite helpful. Some of the other events, like the depot visits, have really helped with my degree. I think particularly for those in engineering, it can be very helpful to see it in the real world while you're learning.
Okay, so I hope we've interested you there. I'm just going to send a couple of links through so that you can find us. We've got a Facebook page, and that's our Guild of Students page if you want to sign up. And we hope we've interested you. And good luck with the rest of your Societies Fair. Bye.
Cheerio, folks.
I'm Paige, and I'm the chair of WISE, so that's Women in Science and Engineering, and I'm here with Dorocha, who's our vice chair. So I'll quickly introduce myself. Like I said, I'm the chair of WISE this year, and I'm in my fourth and final year of a physics and astronomy MSci.
Hi guys, I'm Dorothy. I'm the vice chair, as Paige said, and I'm in my second year of the Artificial Intelligence and Computer Science bachelor's degree.
Yeah, so we've got a few slides and stuff that we'll talk you through, which will give you like a better idea of who we are and what we do. But if you have any questions at all, so at any point while we're chatting, just go ahead and ask them, and we'll answer them as soon as possible. So I'll just share my screen. Okay, here we go. So what is WISE? Women in Science and Engineering is a society that works really hard to promote and support women in STEM. So we work hard to engage with the local community in our outreach scheme, Girls in STEM. And we provide a diverse set of role models that we hope encourages and inspires the next generation of women in STEM. So members will have the opportunity to gain new skills, so for example in science communication, networking and public speaking. And WISE is a really good, inclusive and accessible environment that hopes to help members meet like-minded people and have fun. Absolutely anyone can join, and our membership is free.
So what do we do? Well, one of the biggest things we do, and I think the thing that has like the most signups from people, is our outreach program, where we hold after-school science clubs in different schools. Obviously, because of coronavirus, that had to be changed up a little bit as well, but we're still running it this year, and we're all very excited about it. We also have casual speaker events where we invite people from all kinds of backgrounds to have talks. And it's also a great opportunity for networking. We have conferences, and we also hold socials. We just had our first online social last week, but we will be having a lot more this year. So follow the WISE page to be notified of any events.
So we also have one of our most important speaker events is the WISE Inspire event, and that's been ongoing since the very start of WISE. It's a really great environment, so it's very casual, and it's a great way to meet amazing women that work on campus. So we've worked really hard to arrange this event. We have staff and academics coming in, and they basically talk about the journey that they've taken to get to this point in their career, any difficulties that they've faced. And afterwards, we have a great environment for informal networking. So I personally think it's a fantastic way to improve science communication skills in these more relaxed settings. And it's a fantastic opportunity just to chat to maybe role models and find yourself a mentor. And yeah, usually we provide free pizza. So it's a fantastic event that, yeah, it's just nice and relaxed, and it means that you can meet members and meet staff and meet these amazing women in just a nice, relaxed environment. So we're hoping that this will go ahead this year. It's in the works, and we're working hard to find a good virtual format for it. So it will definitely be online, but we're still hoping to be able to provide free or discounted pizza in some way.
We also have another annual event, which is Equal in STEM. We don't have a fixed date for it, but it's usually in March. Yes, we also want to have this again in 2021 as a virtual event. And this is a panel-based conference discussing barriers in STEM and how they can be overcome by working together. This is an event in collaboration with two other STEM societies, which is BEAMS and OSTEM. They're both great societies, and we're looking forward to collaborating with them more this year. And last year's topics included parenthood in STEM, being a good role model and ally, mental health in STEM, and the responsibilities of being an advocate. Also more about our outreach program. This is our 5th year doing this program, and we work with 3 local schools in Salyoak. We provide after-school science clubs to students who wouldn't usually have the opportunity to engage in STEM. So these schools are underfunded, and they don't have the resources to provide these experience to students. We run chemistry experiments, for example, but we even did some robotic stuff, which the students are very excited about. We do a mixture of all subjects, so not just chemistry, not just biology, but we do all kinds of subjects. And the aim of this is to increase the number of women in STEM fields. This will also be going ahead this year, and we'll have more details on it later. And coming up this year, we have the following events. We're holding an EGM tomorrow for members to run for available positions in committee. We're looking for treasurer, publicity officer, MDS rep, and placement officer. We've already had a number of applications, but it's not too late to, or well, actually, is the deadline over, Paige?
Yes,
yeah,
it is, unfortunately.
Okay, so it is too late to apply now, but you can still take part in making the decision by voting on who would you like to be the next treasurer publicity officer. And this is a great opportunity to ask candidates questions anonymously and help shape the committee.
So as Dochi has already given some information on our outreach scheme, it is going ahead this year, which we're very excited about. So yeah, by volunteering, you're joining an amazing team, which, like we've said, aims to create visible role models to inspire the future generations of women in STEM. So to become a volunteer, it's really simple. It's all up all over our social media, and it's also on our website. Just fill in your availability through the little survey that we've got, and we'll be in touch about the training sessions that are coming up. So this scheme enables you to run your own sessions and work with young people in Selly Oak. We provide all the equipment, we provide travel costs, and as I mentioned, we provide full training. Students of all genders, years and subjects are invited to take part. We really need your help to continue the scheme and all the amazing work that it's been doing so far. It's a fantastic addition to your CV. So you've got, it's volunteering, but it's, as I said, it's also improving your science communication skills. It's improving your presentation skills and how you sort of present ideas and answer questions. And you literally only need to be free for one afternoon in the semester. And you can be free for more than that if you want to do more than one session. Just fill in your availability in that survey. So obviously during this time, we've worked really hard to make sure that outreach is safe, because while we really want to go ahead with it, the safety of our students and our volunteers is our top priority. So outreach is going to take place in a reduced capacity. So this means less volunteers going into the schools and less students being there to engage. And we're also following all of the school guidelines, and we're going to supply our volunteers with hand sanitizers, disinfectant wipes, and visors. And all of our equipment will be quarantined for 72 hours before the outreach session that takes place that week. But you do have two options about what outreach you want to take part in. So we've got physical outreach, which, like I said, happens in a reduced capacity with less students and less volunteers. And you'll be wearing your visor at all times, and there'll never be sort of one-on-one contact with the students. It will be sort of discussion at the front of the classroom, which many schools are calling teacher zone, and all of the students in front of you will have their experiments, and they'll be doing it along with you. And then we also have the opportunity to do virtual outreach. So in this case, it will be virtual demos. So you'll do the same kind of experiments that you do in the physical outreach, but you'll do it on camera, and this will be supplied to our third school, which doesn't want to go ahead with the physical outreach. And they will also be provided with worksheets and stuff, so that the students can watch the videos and then do the worksheets as well. So like I said, sign-ups are ready for you to go and find them. And we've got a 2-week period now where you guys can sign up, and then we'll have a training session, and then outreach will start. We've also part of World Space Week this year, so we're really excited to be part of RailSoc's event. It's in collaboration with RailSoc and SatNav magazine. The theme this year is Satellites Improve Life, and there'll be events every day until the 23rd of October, which is really exciting. Each talk is 25 minutes, and it's from different members of the different societies. It's a fantastic way to get to know different committee members and what their interests are. And it's also an amazing chance to get to know different societies and how they link space and astrophysics, especially if you're interested in that subject. So our very own outreach officer, Veronica, who couldn't be with us today because of technical difficulties, she's doing a talk about quantum satellites, and that's on October 20th at 6 p.m. So I'd really recommend you subscribing to RailSoc's YouTube channel, and you can stream the events there.
Then, more about our socials, sorry. So just last week we had our first virtual pub quiz, which was very fun. Everyone enjoyed it a lot, I think. And it was a group quiz, and the winner group received a £15 Starbucks voucher, so they can like get out of the house and go and have some socially distanced, responsible coffee at Starbucks. And our next social will be in the last week of October, and it's gonna be Halloween themed. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be an online event as well, so you're welcome to attend, whether you're in Birmingham or whether you're an international student, but you still wanna join a society event. And join our Facebook group, which I'm gonna post the link for in the chat in just a second. And follow our Facebook page for updates on our future events.
Okay, yeah. So that's everything that we want to say in that little presentation. So as we said, if you have any questions at all, just pop them into the little Q&A function. And we've got one here, which is exciting. Is there a deadline to join? Absolutely not. You can join at any point in the year. As I mentioned, it's free of charge, and literally all you have to do to become a member is join our Facebook group or sign up to our mailing list. I will advertise all our events and opportunities through there, and if you see it, then you can join it and get involved. And I think, yeah, Dorothy's putting it into the group chat now, so you can go and check it out. So then another question here saying, how big is the society? Dorothy, I don't know if you want to take this one.
Wow, so right now in committee, I believe we have 6 members, but our AGM deadline was today, so we're gonna hopefully expand. And right now, well, I think we have around 400 people in our Facebook group, and like 200 plus people are actually active as well. And I think last year we had 90 signups for our outreach program.
Yeah.
So those are our numbers, and hopefully we're gonna get bigger this year.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people who entered committee this time mentioned in their sort of speeches to like become part of the committee, mentioned that WISE should be bigger than it is. We do have quite a lot of members on our events in terms of socials. I'd say we get about 30 people there, and speaker events, depending on the size, between 50 and 100. But it's definitely not as well known as we want it to be across campus. I think it's quite big in terms of EPS, but throughout the different schools, we're definitely working on making it bigger.
Oh, so you don't have to be a STEM student to join, or a woman. Yeah. We welcome everyone.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so I mean, I've got a question here that I'd like to ask Dorothy. Why did you join WISE?
I think when I was a fresher and I went to the EPS fair, I immediately like noticed WISE, and I really liked it, and then I heard about their outreach program and I started volunteering with them, and then I really liked that, and next year I applied to be on committee.
Yeah, I mean, I was similar. I think I volunteered a couple of times in the outreach scheme. It was like, this is an amazing opportunity both for the students and the volunteers, and I was instantly like, I want to get involved and help organise it. Yeah, I think it is a fantastic committee to be part of. We're very welcoming, and we definitely encourage everyone to speak up and give their opinions. And I think everyone is equally involved no matter what their role is, which is very exciting.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us. It's been lovely to answer your questions, and hopefully we'll see you guys at the next social.
Yeah, definitely. So that will be the week commencing the 26th. We'll be doing one. So hopefully see you guys there and see you joining our mailing list and Facebook group. Bye.
Hello. Give me 1 second. Hopefully you can see my screen. Thank you everyone for coming today. We are the Games Development Society. We make games. As a quick introduction, I'm Ivan, I'm the president.
I'm Stanimir, the secretary,
and I am Mircea, the treasurer.
For our society, what you can expect is that we'll be holding game jams, tutorials, and we'll be making games casually in general. Game jam is a short team or solo game development competition. Usually there is a common theme or there is a common set of restrictions, and the idea is that you have to make a game within those restrictions in a limited amount of time, usually 48 hours, or soon we'll be doing a 1 week game jam, but you only have 24 hours to work on the game, and you have to time yourself, of course. The tutorial sessions that we'll be holding, they will be either one-to-one, online, via any desk or team viewer, or they will be group sessions, again online, interactively. And the first tutorial session is actually tomorrow, so if you're interested, you have to go on the Discord and sign up. And I'll post the link of the Discord link in a few seconds. The topics on the tutorials we're going to cover are the Godot game engine, shader programming, and possibly there will be a tutorial on programmer art, because doing art as a programmer is very hard. And these tutorials are aimed mostly at beginners, but they're also very appropriate for someone who wants to learn some new tool or wants to be introduced to some new ideas. So for the planned events, as I said, tomorrow we will. So first we'll be doing weekly meetings on Discord, just casually game development and stuff, making announcements during those meetings and chatting to each other, sharing our progress. And they will be on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock. And tomorrow, this session is going to start with a tutorial on the Godot game engine, which will, the goal of that tutorial is to help people get prepared for our next big event, which is the Halloween game jam, which is at the end of this month. It's going to be a 1 week game jam. It will be an amazing competition. There will be a common art kit, so you don't even have to be able to do any art. And you have to find a way to use the art provided to you in the most creative way possible. This year, because we can't give you free pizza, there will be a massive prize pool of £100, split between the first, second, and third place, unequally, of course. And here you can see the links to our Discord and to our Facebook page. I think I'm going to post the link to our Discord in the chat. 1 second. The Discord is the main platform that we'll be using this year because we can chat in there. It's easier to make announcements and everything is generally easier. But if you go on the Facebook page, you'll still be able to see most events announcements. It's just that the events themselves are going to happen on Discord anyway. There are the links again. Now, if there are any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. Just post them in the chat, or yeah. And in the meantime, if there are no questions, I'll pull up some gameplay of the latest game that we've made. It's called the Loopy Rind. It was made for a 48-hour, 72-hour competition, and the goal was, the restriction was to make a game around the theme stuck in a loop. Okay, we have one question. Terry Johnson, why did you join GDS? I joined it because I love making games. I've always wanted to make games, and I found other people who like to make games, so I joined them in the hopes that we can do cool stuff together. I really enjoyed all the competitions that we had in the first year when I joined, and yeah, it was something that I've always done anyway, and I might as well do it with other people with the same interest. Let's see why did the committee join then? The rest of the committee.
So for me, with the risk to repeat myself with Ivan, I also love games and the process of the game development. But I also answered another question of why I decided to stay in the society. It's because I found a very wonderful people there, which helped me to learn more in depth the secrets of the game dev, and it also helped me a lot because I do computer science, as I study computer science, and it all helped me to stay focused in my studies, and it helped me more to learn more tools, which reflected very positively. We have also another question. What's the best thing you've done in GDS? For me personally, it was to make games and collaborate with the other people, and also to do how to say it, it's not only the GDS, the game development is not only aimed in the programming and this technical part, but it also allows you to express yourself more artistically with doing arts, music, and other stuff, which is also a very good thing to have an experience with. And what about the others, like Ivan? What was your?
The best things that we've done is winning game jams. Like they're basically won the Global Game Jam this year, which was absolutely amazing. Well, the Global Game Jam hosted in Birmingham, to be more precise. There is no like global game jam that you can win, but the one hosted locally, we won that. There was a lot of competition, but we came out on top. That was amazing, very rewarding, and we're still working on that game. Do you run tutorials is the next question. Yes, we do run tutorials. As I said, tomorrow is the first tutorial. Everyone has to attend because it's going to be very helpful and very well organized. And it's going to be very interesting too. So go on the Discord. I posted the link, and I'll see you tomorrow on the first tutorial. And on that tutorial, to be more precise, I'll show people how to make a game in the Godot engine, how to how to start from scratch, add images, add sounds, play the game, fix all the possible issues that might come up when making a game, and then publish that game on the itch.io platform, which is a platform for indie game developer publishing. We have two questions in the Q&A at the bottom. I don't know if anyone can read them or copy and paste them. I'll be very grateful because I don't know how to.
Yeah. No, actually, everyone is welcome to join at any time. So there are no deadlines. If you're interested, just join.
So the question was, is there a deadline for joining? No.
Yeah. No.
But it's best to join as soon as possible. How many members are there? We're like the biggest society, basically. We have a lot of members. They're not necessarily all active, but all the time. But when we have game jams, we have a lot of participants. Like on weekly meetings, maybe it's not necessary that you come to every weekly meeting, but usually on game jams, you can see a lot of people. What kind of socials do you run? Currently, no socials. We might consider running some socials especially if COVID restrictions are removed at some point. Anyway, I could explain how this game works because I've just been playing it in video. So the goal is you appear at some cell, the goal is to get to the green cell, and you have to find a sequence of loops that is going to take you there. So for example, currently if you start going around the blue loop, you're not going to get to the end, so you have to somehow get to the red loop And to do that, you first need to escape the blue loop and then move to another loop that is connected to the red loop, like this one. And when you move on that loop, actually, I'm not sure if this one is connected to the red loop. No, it isn't. This one is, it's connected right here to the red loop. So you can use this blue loop to get to the red loop, then you switch to the red loop, and you can get to the green circle. Will you hold any virtual tutorials, event socials? Yes, again. Tomorrow there will be a virtual, all of our events are virtual for now. Tomorrow there will be a tutorial session, and at the end of the month there will be a game jam for one week long game jam. What's the most ambitious project you've worked on? It's an online game, online player versus player game that we're currently working on. This is the game that won the local Birmingham Global Game Jam, and it's online. It has accounts. It has fighting. It has throwing axes. It has cutting off limbs. It has a lot of gore and blood, but it's very fun.
It might be also a good idea to show it, or
it is a good idea to show it, but
yeah,
I fear that I'm not sure what the best way to show it is. Let's try it here. If anyone, Mitch, if you want, you can do a demonstration of the game in the. We have some time. So this is how the game looks. Mitch, tell me if you are ready. When you're ready. Well, while Mitch is getting ready, I can show people that we have that the game has a shop where you can buy different items and equip them. In order to do that, though, you first need to actually have an account and log into that account. So I can log into my account. With a one-letter password. Now you can see that I have some cool things equipped, so I look very cool. Well, we have 1 minute to wrap up. Mitch is ready. We'll do one quick game. If everything works out fine, it might not work out fine. Okay, abort mission and try again. Okay, we're having connection issues. Oh, no, we're in. So that's how the game looks. You can throw axes. I think Mitch disconnected, or yeah, we had a connection problem. So when one person disconnected, he just goes like that, and it's very easy to win for me.
You can restart the game if you want.
We have less than 1 minute to wrap up, so there isn't much point. Thank you everyone for being here. Go to the Discord now, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
bye.